Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Welcome to Coffee Moaning. Welcome to Saturday morning Coffee Moaning. Morning, everyone. In the chat, I can see you're all chatting amongst yourselves. Haven't had a chance to really get to grips with what's being said, but sending love to Julie. I hope you're well. I see that you're getting some love from the rest of the group. Welcome to the papers. It's Saturday papers. There's not a Curly Cooks landing today, unfortunately, but there will be a nostalgic old Sunday show landing on the main channel to make up for it. So that will be landing at about 1 o'clock today. How are you all? Have you recovered from the presidential debate? It was hardly a presidential debate, was it? It was a sort of presidential spoon feeding of soup by a maniac to a man who needed a bib. The papers are full of it, I'm afraid. So there's lots of chat in the papers about Donald Trump's debate with Biden. Biden kind of fighting back. We know what you got to do when you're down. You got to fight back. It's a shame we didn't show that sort of daring do and plucky kind of attitude whilst he was on stage. Let me find. I actually kind of ripped. Where did he said? Did he go online yesterday? I think Donald Trump, Biden was giving some kind of, oh no, I didn't get it. Biden was kind of giving it some, wasn't he? He was like, you know what you gotta do? A good American tradition when you're down, you gotta well, if only you'd done it when you're supposed to do it. Hey, you're an alley cat. He needed to be better than that. I mean, the sad fact of the matter is, and this isn't, there's always a bit of kind of, if one says this, people are like, oh, you're supporting. We're not supporting anyone. We're looking at it as humans. There was something deeply hysterical and distressing and sad at one of the points, there were many, where Biden dribbled into total inconsequential phonemes. And then Trump turns around and goes, I didn't understand a word he said. I don't think he really understood what he said. It's funny. It's funny and sad. It's tragicomic. It's Shakespearean. Except I don't even think Shakespeare would have thought he could have got this past a baying crowd. So yeah, sorry, Julie. I can see that you're there's something sending you lots of love, Julie, the singing nutcase. Sorry, it's kind of moving on with the live, but you're feeling the love from the rest of the people in the room. I can't see necessarily what's up for you, sweetie. So anyway, yeah. So Biden. Oh, now we talked in the morning after the debate. What did you think, guys? Can someone tell me in America or into American politics, will the Democrats really not have known how bad it was until he was literally on screen? I just don't buy into this. Yeah, me too. You're right. Trump's team better advised Trump this time. They told him, if Biden looks bad, let him. I can't remember who said it. Someone said, there was a moment, I've never seen Trump look sort of pitiful about someone else, which would suggest he has the capacity, though pity isn't really empathy. I almost felt I saw a moment of old man compassion. Did I? From Trump? He was looking across at one point when he couldn't quite believe how stumbly Biden was. And you know you're in trouble when Trump starts to look at you in a sort of soft focus fashion. Of course they knew, says Antisari. So what do you think, Antisari? Do you think they've been waiting for this moment? They've all known. They knew this was coming. They needed this debate. In a sense, the Democrats needed this debate as much as Trump did to roll him out or shuffle him out and go, fucking hell. What the hell is going on here? Yeah. It wasn't pity or compassion. It was tactical and deliberate display of emotion to make Biden look sad. I don't think Trump had to do much to make Biden look sad. I mean, to be honest with you, I think Trump hasn't been there on many of the other occasions I've seen Biden, where Biden's looked just as sad and disorientated. Reese Roberts, morning, Mark. I think it's a loyalist mentality, even though he appeared more lucid at the other event. Afterwards, the presidency is constant pressure with 3 a.m. calls as well as decisive actions. I mean, you have to factor into a lot of his kind of international sort of, appearances, Biden. He's jet lagged. I mean, Jesus, jet lag whacked my mum, it whacked me. I mean, my mum was talking a completely different language after she landed, So, she's younger than what's his name? Biden. It's not easy, jet lag. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. waiting in the wings. Do you think, with his worm brain? Am I right? Give me a sort of snapshot. I mean, I've heard about him. I've looked at him. I obviously know he's got the Kennedy charm. But am I right in thinking, or is this just the mainstream media? Is he a bit of a crackpot, or is he not? I don't know. Trump showing pity for Biden is like Farage empathizing with an asylum seeker. I see what you mean. I got you. On a random side thought, Mark, we're dog sitting and have been introduced very quickly to the shit of shock in the park and Marie Shellard. You know what? I'm pleased you shared that. There she is. And she's looking forward to doing hers today. The shit of shock. It's sudden, isn't it? The shit of shock. If you don't know what we're talking about, that's our dog, Toffee's ability in the park to just, when it comes, it comes. Richard Kavanagh, I'm 27-year-old. I feel sorry for the young people of America right now. JFK Jr. is the last hope for America. Oh, mate, I feel sorry for America. The problem is I feel sorry for the world because, whatever happens in America, it kind of ripples through whether we like it or not, doesn't it? You've got America, then you've got the GIMP. You've got the planet's GIMP, which is what I call the UK. Fuck all this proud of Britishness and the UK is the GIMP of America on a leash being walked around, and that sound I can hear is the squeaky sound of PVC as we crawl around on all fours. I was reading a piece the other day that said Brexit was a last-ditch strangulated squeal of an imperial nation thinking that somehow we could still mark ourselves as different. Anyway, we're going to start with that incredibly, incredibly sort of erudite. I thought that was an Asian hornet coming towards me. Erudite publication, The Daily Star, because they lead with, man baby beats up doddery old bloke on live TV. Look at the subtitle at the top. Free world in a bit of a pickle. After Biden v. Trump showdown. I adore their language because the Daily Star is basically incredibly good at play acting stupidity. But that for me, man baby beats up doddery bloke live on TV. They've got a shot in the bottom right there, which was the after party or the after disaster kind of shindig where Biden went backstage with his wife. They're not singing there, but I hope to God someone's creating a meme like the Dirty Dancing one. It looks like Biden's jamming, doesn't it? Yeah, man baby beats up doddery old bloke. Free world in a bit of a pickle. Shit, Sherlock. But just read the kind of leader, Tango Man Trump battered poor old Joe Biden in a TV debate that could change the course of history. I'm sorry. And then the great thing is you move into what you call the more reputable publications, and the inability to kind of reach for kind of more meaningful or sophisticated language is stark because here we go. Biden mumbles way through. Sorry, I'm losing it. Biden mumbles way through Trump clash. Okay. Admittedly, we've only sort of elevated ourselves to the sun. These are photographs allegedly of Americans face planting. I mean, if you're, I'm sorry, I'm a huge fan of America in terms of, progressive and culturally, and like in any country and everywhere, there's great and there's bad. But my God, if you're American right now, you must be fucking embarrassed. You must be. I mean, we are, but it's no surprise here. We're boring, and as I say, we're gimps. We're gimp. We're your gimp. The UK is your gimp. But look at that. The faces of despair and dismay. Oh, Biden blew it, says Emily Maitlis, but Democrats still have time to replace him. Had to listen to the News Agents USA, their podcast. And I mean, she was staggered when you hear really kind of seasoned journalists. And she was like, they'd phoned in to each other and John Sopel, an early kind of podcast. Check it out. News Agents is a USA version of it. But she was so staggered. She was clearly in bed recording at Emily Maitlis over the phone. And she's like, fucking hell. I didn't want to sign up to this narrative. I mean, I don't know how you couldn't sign up to this narrative. I mean, how are people willingly just kind of pretending he wasn't? He walked into flagpoles. He shook door handles' hands thinking they were people and dignitaries. So moving on. Here's a good one. World stunned by president imploding. You got to laugh. You got to laugh because the world is literally going to hell in a handcart. World stunned. I've just got images of, I want to forget who was what, and everyone's evil, everyone's good, let's say it. I just would love to be a fly on the wall when Kim Jong-un or Putin or President Xi watched this. Did they watch it and go, what the motherfucking hell on earth is going on over there? And Sorry, it's not funny at all. It's hysterical because it's catastrophic. And in the face of disaster, we have to laugh. Financial Times, Biden defies calls to bow out. Disastrous Trump debate adds to concerns over fitness. I think they should get them to do an assault course next time. I don't think they should ask them any questions. They should do hand-eye coordination tests. They should create obviously a mock, because if it was the real thing, they'd blow the fucking planet up. But I think they should put the suitcase and the box with the button, and they should do kind of whack-a-mole tests and how fast can they get their forefinger out, texting, speed text, and all that kind of stuff. I mean, the guys talked at more length about the weight and height of Donald Trump and their golfing handicaps than they did about Gaza and Palestine. Biden, Reese Roberts, Bill Maher says, Biden is the equivalent of Dracula who has traveled centuries for the presidency and won't be relinquishing it anytime soon. That's such a good image. He is Nosferatu. He goes to the White House and lies in his onyx kind of tomb. And people are running around with stakes. Oh my God. Dina Watson, I'll bring us down to earth in a minute. This is the perfect time for the psychopaths to take over. Exactly what has happened through history and was the way in which the Romans successfully invaded Britain 2,000 years ago. Let's just hope, sorry if I've got your name, was it Polly? Let's just hope, whoever was telling us yesterday it's the age of Aquarius, let's hope it comes with a bang. Biden is given 1 week to stand down. Problem is, it takes him over a week to stand up. Sorry. I'm laughing because it's actually so scary. So he's been given a week to stand down, says the Telegraph. But as I say, it takes him at least longer than that to stand up. I don't understand what he said. I don't think he really understands what he said. Frantic calls for president to quit poll debate, to quit poll ban. Frantic frantic calls. We've now got really intelligent American politicians going, he's fucking not there. He's not there. Where is he? Everyone else in the world is looking, going, we could see this coming. Really? Frantic calls now? Polly. Was it Polly? Polly, I think you were. He vows to fight on despite alarm at frailty. I mean, I'm only saying this because he's president and not because he's an old man. But at the age that he's at and with the frailty he's got, he's diminishing exponentially. I mean, if this is where he's at now, come the election in November, where the fuck is he going to be then? I mean, it speaks to a little bit of what my nan would say, with my Nanny Thelma would say, in a very self-effacing, very dark gallows humour. I'd say, we'd see her, we'd visit, and she'd go, how are you? She'd go, well, Mark, I mean, what can I say? I'm terminal, because she was 93. And she'd say, I'm terminal. You know what I mean? It's like he's not going to get better. It's not like he's going through a thing and he's going to get better. What the fuck? He vows to fight on despite alarm at frailty. Petrifying. Sorry. And then, of course, you get an image like this. And quite seriously, we were looking through some of the clips yesterday. And young kids, the cut and thrust of social media, which is brutal. The memes have been brutal, the laughter's brutal, and then you see an image like that, you'll see a moment of his disorientation. Our girls, lots of other youngsters that I've spoken to, friends of theirs, you see the frail old man, and if you kind of cut all the catastrophic consequences of his position, all everyone sees is a frail grandfather. Yeah, I know that. If Biden doesn't step down, convicted felon, Donald Trump will definitely win. Look, guys, I don't know how, our brother Johnny, I agree, but I don't know how to tell you this. I feel he's won. If Biden holds on to power, Trump's in. There's no two ways about it. So, when you see an image like this, the compassion does kick in. But one has to actually kick the compassion to the curb, because it's more important than having compassion for one man. Let's face it, he's had zero compassion or even mention of all of the gazillions of children that have died in Palestine. So, this guy is in a position of extraordinary power. He's made some extraordinary choices. He's made of Teflon and tough shit. But it's hard not to, isn't it? The humanity in all of us. It's hard when you see a man looking off into middle space and wondering, I don't know, what his next shoe is that he's going to eat. It's difficult not to go, oh, mate, not mate. So here's some more images of people absolutely gobsmacked. Trump indicted for murdering elderly man on CNN. I mean, the problem with it is that Trump didn't really give him the killer punch. I mean, God forbid if he had, he'd have blown into dust. Do you know what I mean? I don't think one can even argue that Trump was particularly trolling of him. He just, as you rightly say, Michu, he just had to kind of, he did something I never thought Trump could do. He wasn't constantly drawn to the sound of his own voice. Probably that's what we have to do with Trump. You have to mute his mic once he's finished his rambling nonsense. And then he shuts up. If he hasn't got a microphone, I don't think Trump talks. Maybe Trump only talks with a microphone. Imagine if you're imagine it if he's in your family. You're like, fucking turn all the mics off. Dad'll shut up. I don't feel compassion for him, Steph Schultz. More for his loved ones watching this happen. Yeah, I mean, I tell you what I really hate. I really hate this kind of sexist emphasis on his wife somehow being responsible. Fuck that shit. I mean, I'm not saying there isn't a family aspect to it. Of course there is. But it's the whole family. It's always the whole family. It's not just one person. But then there's a whole fucking party. Not as in a Democratic Party. I mean, they're all responsible. I mean, yeah, you're right, Ellery Jones. Trump just talks bullshit. Trump talks shit. He talks total shit. He lies and he doesn't care. I mean, in a weird way, what's the answer to that? I mean, in a sense, you need someone instead of Biden who just comes out and lies back. Maybe that's what we need. Maybe just everyone just needs to lie. It's just madness. Biden's party has lied to the public and itself about him for too long. They must have done. They must have done. Bonnie Delaney, Trump is pure entertainment. I don't know how to say this. I feel guilty. This is awful. It's not a reason to like him or to vote him in or whatever, but he opens his mouth and people laugh. I don't even think he intends them to. It's just his turn of phrase. I don't know what he said, and I don't even know if he knows what he said. He's talking gobbledygook. Even though I talk gobbledygook, I talk it through a cat's anus. Trump standouts for me during the debate, H2O and black jobs. Yeah, he is sick. Why isn't his medical state declared? Do you remember? I mean, I'm not talking, if we're looking at equivalence here, do you remember how armchair psychotherapists and psychoanalysts or psychologists were sort of saying that Trump was all these things when he was in power? We have a man who's on stage virtually dribbling and absent. And yet no one is demanding some kind of medical assessment. You're absolutely right, Nor Forbes. You're absolutely right. And this is a sick man. It wasn't a debate. Biden was not there. No, you're right. And that's a really important point that Nor also makes. It's really important. And I did say this actually, Nor, on the post-debate chat. Trump didn't win the debate. Biden lost it. And that's really important to say. I don't think anything Trump said or did won. And I got this funny feeling. I think you're right. There will be all of these kind of undecided voters who haven't decided and, are not going to go towards Trump. That said, what I would say about Trump, though, which was surprising, I thought he showed in his own terms, more of a statesman-like command than I've ever seen in any other public debate that he's done. I mean, I'm just being honest. I think he did. And I think that will have equally been a surprise to everyone, which is why the Democrats desperately need to get someone else in. Party panic. Sorry, party panics after president mumbled and froze during debate with Trump, but insists he won't step down again because it's too hard to lift his legs to step up. So what have we got here? We've got hubris. Hubris at work is now Biden. Biden's the one who needs to be talked to. Will it be a case of at the next debate? Do you remember in the 70s, at sort of like the Palladium, the Royal Variety Show, someone would come on with a great long kind of hook and just pull him off stage? I wish Jim Carrey and what's the name of the guy who's in the Rust, tied up in the Rust? What's his name? When they did the Saturday Night Live kind of skit, I wish Jim Carrey played Biden. And what's the name of the fucking actor who's caught up in the Rust shooting disaster? Didn't he? He was the one who played Trump, wasn't he? Yeah, I'm sure you'll. Alec Baldwin. Thank you, Reese. I was desperate. I was screaming, "Help me!" This is I want to put this up. UK may delay the International Criminal Court's decision on arrest warrant for Netanyahu. If we had any doubts that we are not only America's GIMP, but Israel's GIMP too, we are going to be the legal team that seeks to intervene and prevent, potentially, the issuing of arrest warrants against Netanyahu and Gallant. I don't know whether it's also applicable to those that they're seeking from, Hamas, the arrest warrants there. This is the UK government getting involved in this on a technicality. They're talking about jurisdiction, given the fact that the Palestinian state doesn't exist because it's not recognized, and given the fact that Israel isn't a signatory to the ICC. They're really wanting to split hairs and obfuscate and do that thing, a word that we all need to get to grips with, which the British are brilliant at, which is filibuster. This is an attempt to filibuster the International Criminal Court's ability to issue an arrest warrant. And it's so fucking depressing that it's the UK leading this and spearheading this. This is an outrage. These are the kind of things and decisions and movements that will be happening and are happening everywhere in the shadows. For example, another law that's being passed or trying to be passed in America at the moment is a law to say America will not recognize as in any way official the statistics coming out of Gaza re the deaths. And as many observers are saying, this is an ability. They have an ability in this, even though historically, in all other crises and conflicts and fights between Israel and Gaza, the statistics have always invariably been pretty much accurate and proven by international objective observers. Rather than passing a law in America to seek a way of gaining accurate numbers of casualties in Gaza and the West Bank, rather than passing a law to allow people, independent observers, neutral observers, journalists, etc., into Gaza and into the West Bank to get the correct statistics. Rather than do that, they're going to deny the numbers that we're getting. And as many observers are saying, this is an attempt to, in a sense, erase the possibility of a genocide even being talked about. And so these little maneuvers that are all happening in the wings now, not in the kind of spotlight, are the ways in which this horrid genocidal atrocity that has happened, disproportionate destruction of a country that has given and has been given over years no recognition or rights. This is how it's going to be massaged into the margins and hidden away and all that kind of stuff. So, just, and that's a tiny little line on page 4 of The Guardian. No one else is running that story. I could hear Jay slipping on rocks, missing Brit, new clue. This story continues. Jay Slater's best pal, this is on the front of the Mirror, talking about how he saw the missing lad slide down some rocks on the morning he vanished. We've talked about this in the week. A lot of, this is a hot topic in terms of, so much speculation about what may have happened, what could have happened, about the nature of this boy's kind of behavior prior to going out, possible criminality, all this kind of stuff. At the end of the day, right now, I've said all along, happy birthday, Bonnie, for tomorrow, sweetheart. Happy birthday. At this point, until anything's proven, one just has to, one just has to wait. It's like we're all in such a rush to judge. It's like, okay, well, look, let's just wait and see what's happened. The family at the moment, as we understand it, is going through hell. So this is the sort of continued tidbits of kind of stuff that's coming through regarding the missing teenager. Holly Willoughby suspect calls kidnap plots cries for help. What do you think of this? This is in all the papers today. They're all running images. I'm going to show them in a moment of the guy, what's his name, Gavin Plum, when he was arrested. This is the guy who was plotting to kidnap, hold hostage, rape and kill, according to what he was posting online. The TV presenter Holly Willoughby. And he's using this line. Willoughby suspect calls kidnap plots cries for help. The weird thing about this is they probably were, and they probably are. But you just need to cry in a different way for help, other than suggesting or potentially even discussing the idea of kidnapping someone. Yeah, he's trying to get out of it. This is the mental health thing that someone was talking about last week. This is that whole thing of muddying the waters, isn't it, around sort of culpability and, victimhood, the ability to very quickly, it's like trolls, of course, if you're trolling, you've got to have a problem. If you're kind of obsessively pulling someone down and attacking someone who you say you can't stand, but you keep doing it, there's something obviously wrong with you. But yes, and that requires compassion at some point. But my line on all of this is like, yes, the guy who's on the street struggling with, say, schizophrenia, or psychosis, who with a machete kills 3 people. The first point that one has to stop at is, right, we need to stop you from doing that again. And then you move on to how does one more generally deal with schizophrenia? You don't excuse the behavior. It's inexcusable. So this is the court case with this guy. This is the moment he was arrested. Chloroform, he says that was for cleaning the fridge. We don't have chloroform to clean a fridge. I don't know if anyone else does. Does chloroform clean fridges? So obviously trying to get his whatever sentence is incoming. Ellen, he must be mentally ill to be thinking of such things. Yes, I think absolutely. I mean, don't get me wrong. There is a mental illness here. But I think to be able to somehow then soften one's judgment or one's position on it because of that mental health illness. It's a big ask. It's a big ask at this stage. He's heartbroken and disgusted at himself, by all accounts. It was just online chat. This is the danger. Have online chat that in any way runs towards the suggestion or advocacy of criminality, and it all gets a bit dodgy, all gets a bit tricky. And, you know, I mean, I suppose in a weird way, what you could say, those images at the top, it does speak to this idea that a lot of people are all mouth online, aren't they, about, you know, anything. You come face to face with them and they're a sort of gibbering wreck in a corner of a room. But again, you know, he's obviously unwell. At some point somewhere down the line, compassion can be felt to him. Felt for him, maybe. I think David Tennant's a misogynist, says Kemi Badenoch. Does anyone agree? This was at an award ceremony, wasn't it, where he said, I'd rather she didn't exist. I think this has been taken a little bit literally. I don't think David Tennant was for a minute suggesting she should die. I think there's been an attempt here to kind of conflate some sort of hyperbole or sort of, I wish she didn't exist. I think what he was saying, I mean, and again, this is what I want to ask. I want to know, do you think his language was wrong? Do you think he was too brutal? Saying, I wish she didn't exist. Wasn't he really talking about her values and her ideas? You know, all that kind of stuff. What say you all? Everyone's saying hello to Alison. Hello, Alison. Can't see you, Alison. Where are you? Alison Barker. Hey. It's Kemi Badenoch. She conflates to infinity. That's almost a strapline for a Pixar character, isn't it? David Tennant is a treasure. Well, yeah. So Kemi Badenoch is you know, he's a misogynist because he's told me my values shouldn't exist. And then J.K. Rowling has said has hit out at Tennant after he brands gender critics whinging fuckers. J.K. Rowling has hit out at Doctor Who star after he branded critics of trans issues whinging, I guess fuckers or fuckwits, was it? In a backstage interview posted on Instagram, Tennant said that trans people should not feel unloved or not accepted, as most people in the world don't really care about the issue. The Scottish actor added, everyone's so self-obsessed that really the sort of noise that comes from a certain area of the press and of the political class, it's a minority. Miss Rowling said, this man is talking about rape survivors who want female-only care. The nurse is currently suing their health trust for making them change in front of a man, girls and women, losing sporting opportunities to males and female prisoners incarcerated with convicted sex offenders. I mean, it's becoming more and more intense, this, isn't it? It's kind of, and yeah. And at the heart of it all, Erin, you sort of feel that the kind of real life experiences of people are just getting lost. I can't help but feel this is a lot of posturing by famous people. Give weight loss jabs to obese children, says Top Doctor. Do you agree? Obese teenagers should be offered weight loss jabs to save them from a lifetime of weight problems. This is the whole Ozempic thing. I think when you're young kids, and in a sense, kids, you know, there's this idea of responsibility around weight, food, you know, a lot of misunderstanding that food issues are like addiction issues. We are a culture as well. If you think about it, some of the biggest kind of businesses and industries are food related, aren't they? So I think for children to be targeted with some of this stuff, I don't know. I just worry again, what are the long-term health implications of this? It's like we all thought vaping was a step down from smoking, and now we're discovering that lungs are kind of contorting into all sorts of horrors. So, give weight loss jabs to obese children. This is in the Telegraph. Professor Louise Barr, an obesity paediatrician at the University of Sydney. Glastonbury. Anyone watching Glastonbury? I caught flicking last night, actually. Dua Lipa, as she kind of did her thing. R.I.P. rock and roll. Pop's now top, say Glasto, as they defend weak lineup. There's another headline here which says, well, there she is, Dua Lipa doing her thing. Where are all the young rockers, asks festival boss. I know what you mean. I know what they mean. Well, they can't afford to fucking do it. That's the problem. because lots of venues are being destroyed. They can't tour around Europe due to Brexit. The kind of grassroots, lots of businesses have closed. If pubs have closed, so too have small bars that put on, bands and stuff like that. So there isn't that network. I mean, I remember when I was at university, I used to run the Students' Union entertainment side of things. And, it was the main way for young, I think, we were booking bands like Carter, the Unstoppable Sex Machine, the Levelers, Ocean Colour Scene. These bands all came through as kind of second, third support acts to other bands at the time. And if you don't have that kind of grassroots way in, it's really hard, I think, for rockers to come through. So, yeah, these big festivals are sort of turning to pop. And I suppose pop so that they can increase the ticket prices are fucking ludicrous, though, aren't they? So yeah, bit of bemoaning the fact that there aren't any rockers. Where are all the young rockers? You met Carter, the Unstoppable Sex Machine. He had that long piece of hair, didn't he? Just quickly, 27 oil plotters held in cop raids. The only reason I quickly pulled this was it's amazing how efficient they can be at stopping Just Stop Oilers, but not at all efficient at stopping water companies destroy our water. They're right on it, aren't they? It's a little bit like how social media platforms, they can hit the copyright infringements, but they can't do the trolls. So, very efficient when it comes to stopping them. Pet experts want to put the brakes on pooches' prams. What? I didn't know how many people actually push their pooches around. I think, it's got to be clear that, like, as humans, if you don't use your legs, you'll slowly, over time, obviously, you've got to keep exercising. You lose the use of your legs. If you don't keep exercising whatever part of your body you need to use, eventually it will start to kind of go away. And I think this is a piece looking at how canine pampering. Oh, just bear with me 1 second. I'm back. Back. Oh, yeah. So pampering our pooches, it's not ethical. I know what you mean. Can we keep the prams but have the dogs pull us? It's a good idea. I've seen quite a few pooches and prams. It's like the toy pets, like teacup dogs. On the Sunday show, we've got loads of clips coming up this weekend, all of these dogs with kind of, the chihuahuas. The chihuahuas' eyes bulge out because they're so angry. They've got a wolf inside them. They've got the DNA of a wolf. I like this one. This is true. Distracting from tantrums is harmful. If you thrust an iPad or a device or put a kid in front of the telly when they're having a tantrum, it's bad for them. They need to work out. They need to be able to emotionally regulate their way out of a temper tantrum. But haven't we, since time immemorial, just tried to find ways of just shutting our kids up as quickly as possible? Yay, Deborah, your husband David is back out. Fantastic. Well done, Dave. I had to get a pram for my 17-year-old dog because she couldn't walk far. That I think is a different kettle of fish altogether. What's a different pram of dog? Wasn't there something not long ago telling you to distract them? Well, no, according to a new study, children learn a lot about self-regulation during their first few years of life. And this is mainly done through their relationship with parents. For the study published in Frontiers in Child and Adolescent Psychiatry, more than 300 parents of children aged between 2 and 5 completed a questionnaire. Tantrums cannot be cured by digital devices, says Dr. Veronica Connock. I don't know if I entirely agree. I think anything for a quiet life sometimes, don't you? Wet spring has sting in its tail as bee numbers fall. That's not good, is it? That is not good. I must admit, I haven't seen as many bees this year, but all the flowers haven't flowered. Don't mock it. The science of dad dancing and why it's good for you. I must dance. Yeah, Robin Woods, reigning world dad dancing champion, showing us some of his kind of hipster moves with his flip-flops. Does anyone else find flip-flops really painful? They always hurt. It's like when I wear a flip-flop, my toes look like they're clinging onto the planet for dear life. So yeah, this is the idea that dad dancing is really, really good for you. Classic moves to get men dancing. Lawnmower starter. What have we got here? The rusty robot, body popping robot, but rustier. Here we go. The lawnmower starter. What was the lawnmower? Oh, I see. Pulling up from the floor. Yeah, I get you. This is all off the back of the fact that Prince William was dancing like a good dad at the Taylor Swift concert. Flip-flops, man. There's nothing more irritating than the sound of them. Makes me just want to cut the flip so that they just flop. So yeah, dad dancing is really good for you. Britain's gardeners embrace pond life as demand for aquatic plants grows. Don't know, I just wanted to say that. I like this one, not because of the story. I don't want to talk about the story. It's not particularly pleasant. But the title, the puntastic title is a good one. Shaming of the Screw. This is a prison officer who films porn vid with inmate. Other lag directs while puffing spliff. The whole thing is incredibly unpalatable, but what a clever title. Obviously, riffing on the Shakespearean play, The Taming of the Shrew. The Shaming of the Screw. Kim Jong-un is busy again with poo bags, gathering poo to drop on South Korea. Kim Jong-un strikes again. North Koreans have been told to join a big push and... did you get it? A big push. And join a big push and collect human waste to fertilize crops so they can drop it on South Korea again. God. It must be really, really odd being South Korea and being shat on from a great height constantly. Rise of micro-cheat, stag and hen flirts confess. Apparently having cream rubbed into your back by a stranger is a bit of a micro-cheat. As is, what else? A bit of a kind of flirty look across a restaurant. Is that a micro-cheat, really? A flirty glance, buying someone a drink, or even getting sun cream rubbed in by random folk. A micro-cheat. Self-Terminator. This is funny. Suicide plunge of depressed cyborg postie. A depressed slave robot is feared to have killed itself by leaping down a flight of stairs. But the civil service cyborg, which actually looks like a white bin with a screen on its side, was designed to deliver documents. But the bored bot ended its life by throwing itself down a stairwell in South Korea. So it didn't look anything like the Terminator. This little bot box was bored. It held itself down the stairs. It's in South Korea. Maybe it knew that old Kim Jong-un was about to drop shit on it. An amazing photograph here, which one never really believes is the photograph. When NASA issue photos, you sort of think, yeah, I bet it doesn't look like that. And no, it doesn't. This is a 3D visualization of the Milky Way. Well, that's not how it's going to look to us, because we're never going to be able to stand where this was taken. So it's pointless. This isn't real. What is real? Oh, I'm in existential hell. Portugal plots grandparents paid leave to lift birth rate. I think that's clever. Placebo gearbox for electric cars. Men are such children, they need to hear. So they're actually putting gearboxes, eight gear sticks into electric cars so they make the sound of cars. I kid you not, placebo gearbox for electric cars or for petrol heads. I must admit, there's nothing more sinister than an electric car pulling up behind you. Have you ever felt that? It's like they're going to jump on you. It's really horrible. Have I done this? I feel like I've done this. Maybe not. Kids too fat for a donkey ride. Do you remember donkey rides? We used to do them in Blackpool. They're bringing out scales to weigh kids to make sure they're not too heavy, which is good. It's good for the donkeys. But of course, maybe that's why they want to give them all Ozempic, so they can ride donkeys. This should be a policy. We will give all overweight youngsters Ozempic so they can ride donkeys on Blackpool Beach. I'd vote for them. I would. Boiling mad. What's making us boiling mad? What's making us Brits boiling mad, according to the Daily Star? Come on, guess before I head off. Guess. Come on, guys and girls. What is making us boiling mad? Clue is in the title. We are the most impatient country when it comes to waiting for a kettle to turn off. Our patience levels, as they're saying, are on an all-time low. Apparently, do you do that, though? Do you do that? I put a kettle on, boil it. If it's still boiling, I'll just flick it off quickly. I do. And I sometimes worry that Nadia knows I do that. Don't tell her. Yeah, apparently we're so impatient. Slow loading web pages and supermarket checkouts are something else that drive us mad. And finally, some photos for you. Oh, look at that. Bears clinging to their mum's backside. Let's hope she doesn't fart. And owl hits high note. Look at that. Bird of prey. What a sweetie. Anyway, guys, there you go. That's your lot. As I say, a historic Sunday show will be landing, I think, at 1 o'clock today to make up for your lack of curly cookiness. And a new Sunday show will be landing tomorrow. And I think a review of Kinds of Kindness is coming at some point. So have a lovely day. I hope you have a lovely Saturday. I hope it's lovely there. It's quite nice here. And Nadia will be back later today. Mwah!